Start with interstate relations. The functioning of the Indian federal system depends not only on the harmonious relations and close cooperation between the center and the states, but also between the states inter se. Hence, the Constitution makes the following provisions with regard to interstate committee. ठीक है. Adjudication of interstate water disputes, coordination through interstate councils, mutual recognition of public acts, records and judicial proceedings, freedom of interstate trade, commerce and intercourse. In addition, the zonal councils have been established by the Parliament to promote interstate cooperation and coordination. Interstate water disputes. Interstate water disputes. Article 262. Article 262 of the Constitution provide for the adjudication of interstate water disputes. It makes two provisions. Parliament by law provide for the adjudication of any dispute or complaint with respect to the use, distribution and control of waters of any interstate river and river valley. Parliament may also provide that neither the Supreme Court nor any other court is to exercise jurisdiction in respect of any such dispute or complaint. Under this provision, the Parliament has enacted two laws, right? The River Board Act 1956 and the Interstate Water Dispute Act 1956, right? दोनों 1956. The River Board Act provides for the establishment of river boards for the regulation and development of interstate river and river valleys. A river board is established by the central government on the request of the state governments concerned to advise them. Fine. Interstate water disputes empower. Interstate Water Dispute Act empowers the central government to set up an ad hoc tribunal for the adjudication of a dispute between two or more states in relation to the waters of an interstate river or river valley. The decision of the tribunal would be final, right? The decision of the tribunal would be final and binding on the parties to the dispute. Neither the Supreme Court nor any other court is to have jurisdiction in respect of any water dispute which may be referred to such a tribunal under this act. The need for an act to settle interstate water disputes is as follows. The Supreme Court would indeed have jurisdiction to decide any dispute between states in connection with water supplies if legal rights or interests are concerned, but the experience of most countries has shown that rules of law based upon the analogy of private proprietary interest in water do not afford a satisfactory basis for settling disputes between the states where the interest of the public at large in the proper use of water supplies are involved. So far 2019, the central government has set up 9 interstate water dispute tribunals. The name of the tribunals, the years in which they were constituted and the states involved in the dispute are mentioned, right? So ये देख लेते हैं टेबल. कृष्णा वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 1, महाराष्ट्र, कर्नाटका, आंध्र प्रदेश 1969. गोदावरी वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 1969 में महाराष्ट्र, कर्नाटका, आंध्र प्रदेश, एमपी एंड ओडिशा. ओके. नर्मदा वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 1969 में राजस्थान गवर्नमेंट, एमपी, राजस्थान, गुजरात, एमपी एंड महाराष्ट्र. रवि एंड व्यास वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 1986 पंजाब, हरियाणा, राजस्थान. कावेरी वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 1990 कर्नाटका, केरला, तमिलनाडु, पुडुचेरी. कृष्णा वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 2004 में महाराष्ट्र, कर्नाटका, आंध्र प्रदेश. वनसदरा वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 2010 ओडिशा एंड आंध्र प्रदेश. महादाई वाटर डिस्प्यूट ट्रिब्यूनल 2010 गोवा, कर्नाटका एंड महाराष्ट्र. महानदी वाटर डिस्प्यूट्स ट्रिब्यूनल 2018 ओडिशा एंड छत्तीसगढ़. इंटरस्टेट काउंसिल्स. आर्टिकल 263. Article 263 contemplates the establishment of an interstate council to affect the coordination between the states and between center and states, right? Article 263 contemplates the establishment of an interstate council to affect the coordination between the states and between center and states. Thus, the President can establish such a council if at any time it appears to him that the public interest would be served by its establishment. He can define the nature of the duties to be performed by such a council and its organization and procedure. Even though the president is empowered, even though the president is empowered to define the duties of an interstate council, Article 263 specifies the duties that can be assigned to it in the following manner: inquiring into and advising upon disputes which may arise between states, right? तो इंटरस्टेट काउंसिल की ड्यूटीज में क्या क्या आ सकता है? इंक्वायर करना एंड एडवाइजिंग अपॉन द डिस्प्यूट्स विच मे अराइज बिटवीन द स्टेट्स, investigating and discussing the subjects in which the states or the center and states have a common interest, making recommendations upon any such subject, and particularly for the better coordination of policy and action on it, right? The council's function to inquire and advise upon interstate dispute is complementary to the Supreme Court's jurisdiction under Article 131 to decide a legal controversy between the governments. The council can deal with any controversy, whether legal or non-legal, but its function is advisory, unlike that of the court, which gives a binding decision. Under the above provision of Article 263, the President has established the following councils to make recommendations for the better coordination of policy and action in the related subjects. कौन से? Center Council of Health and Family Welfare, Center Council of Local Government, 4 regional councils for sale tax for the northern, eastern, western and southern zones. Establishment of Interstate Council, Sarkaria Commission on Center-State Relation 1983-88 made a strong case for the establishment of a permanent interstate council under Article 263 of the Constitution. It recommended that in order to differentiate the interstate council from other bodies established under the same Article 263, it must be called as an intergovernment council. The Commission recommended that the council should be charged with the duties laid down in clauses B and C of Article 263. In pursuance of the above recommendation of the Sarkaria Commission, the Janata Dal government headed by VP Singh established the Interstate Council in 1993. Right? तो सरकारिया कमीशन की रिकमेंडेशंस पर जनता दल गवर्नमेंट जो वीपी सिंह द्वारा हेड की गई थी, उन्होंने इंटरस्टेट काउंसिल को इस्टेब्लिश किया 1990 में. इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ फॉलोइंग मेंबर्स: Prime Minister as a chairman, Chief Ministers of all the states, Chief Minister of Union Territories having legislative assemblies, administrators of Union Territories not having legislative assemblies, Governor of state under President rule, 6 central cabinet ministers including the Home Minister to be nominated by the Prime Minister. Now 5 ministers of cabinet rank, Minister of State, independent charge nominated by the chairman of the council, that is Prime Minister, permanent invitees to the council. कौन? 5 मिनिस्टर्स ऑफ कैबिनेट रैंक और मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट जिनका इंडिपेंडेंट चार्ज है, ठीक है, वो जो खुद डिपार्टमेंट संभालने के लिए, नॉमिनेटेड बाय, जो नॉमिनेट किए गए हैं बाय द प्राइम मिनिस्टर, दे आर द परमानेंट इन्वाइटेड टू द काउंसिल बाय द चेयरमैन. चेयरमैन कौन है काउंसिल का? प्राइम मिनिस्टर. द काउंसिल इज अ रिकमेंडेटरी बॉडी ऑन इश्यूज रिलेटिंग टू इंटर स्टेट, center state and center union territory relations. It aims at promoting coordination between them by examining, discussing and deliberating on such issues. Its duties in detail are as follows: investigating and discussing such subjects in which the states or the center have a common interest, making recommendations upon any such subject for the better coordination of policy and action on it, and deliberating upon such other matters of general interest to the states as may be referred to it by the chairman. The council may meet at least thrice in a year. Its meetings are held in camera and all questions are decided by consensus. There is also a standing committee. There is also a standing committee of the council. It was set up in 1996 for continuous consultation and processing of matters for the consideration of council. It consists of the following members: Union Home Minister as the chairman, 5 Union Cabinet Ministers, 9 Chief Ministers. The council is assisted by secretariat called the Interstate Council Secretariat. The secretariat was set up in 1991 and is headed by a secretary to a government of India. Since 2011, it is also functioning as a secretariat of the zonal councils. Right? Public acts, records and judicial proceedings. Under the Constitution, the jurisdiction of each state is confined to its own territory. Hence, it is possible that the acts and records of one state may not be recognized in other state. To remove any such difficulty, the Constitution contains a full faith and credit clause. Full faith and disputes, which lays down the following. Full faith and credit is to be given throughout the territory of India to public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of the centre and every state. The expression public acts includes both legislative and executive acts of the government. The expression public record includes any official book, register, or record made by a public servant in the discharge of his official duties. The manner in which and the conditions under which such acts, record, and proceedings are to be proved and the effect determined would be as provided by the laws of Parliament. This means that the general rule mentioned above is subject to the power of Parliament to lay down the mode of proof as well as the effect of such acts, records, and proceedings of one state in another state. Final judgments and orders of civil courts in any part of India are capable of execution anywhere within India without the necessity of a fresh suit upon the judgment. The rule applies only to the civil judgments and not to the criminal judgments. In other words, it does not require the court or a state to enforce the penal laws of another state. Fine. Interstate trade and commerce. Article 301 to 307 in part 13th of the Constitution deal with the trade, commerce, and intercourse within the territory of India. Article 301 declares that the trade, commerce, and intercourse throughout the territory of India shall be free. The object of this provision is to break down the border barriers between the states and to create one unit with the view to encourage the free flow of trade, commerce, and intercourse in the country. The freedom under this provision is not confined to interstate trade, commerce, and intercourse but also extend to intrastate trade, commerce, and intercourse. Thus, Article 301 will be violated whether restrictions are imposed at the frontier of any state or any other prior or subsequent stage. The freedom granted by Article 301 is a freedom from all the restrictions except those which are provided for in the other provisions, Article 302 to 305 of Part 13th of the Constitution itself. These are explained below. Parliament can impose the restrictions on the freedom of trade, commerce, and intercourse. Trade, commerce, and intercourse between the states or within a state in public interest. But the Parliament cannot give preference of one state over another or discriminate between the states except in the case of scarcity of goods in any part of India. The legislature of a state can impose reasonable restrictions on the freedom of trade, commerce, and intercourse with that state or within that state in public interest, but a bill for this purpose can be introduced in the legislature only with the previous sanction of the President. Further, the state legislature cannot give preference to one state over another or discriminate between the states. The legislature of a state can impose on goods. The legislature of a state can impose on goods imported from other states or the union territories any tax to which the similar goods manufactured in that state are subject. This provision prohibits the imposition of discriminatory taxes by the state. The freedom under Article 301 is subject to nationalization laws, that is, laws providing for monopolies in favor of the centre or the states. Thus, a parliament or the state legislature can make laws for the carrying on by the respective government. Any trade, business, industry, or service, whether to the exclusion, complete or partial, of citizens or otherwise. The Parliament can appoint an appropriate authority for carrying out the purpose of the above provision relating to the freedom of trade, commerce, and intercourse and restrictions on it. The Parliament can also confer on that authority the necessary powers and duty, but no such authority has been appointed so far. Now, zonal councils, right? The zonal councils are the statutory and not the constitutional bodies. They are established by the Act of the Parliament, that is States Reorganization Act of 1956. The Act divided the country into 5 zones: northern, central, eastern, western, and southern, and provided a zonal council for each zone. While forming these zones, several factors have been taken into account, which include the natural divisions of the country, the river systems and means of communication, the cultural and linguistic affinity, and the requirements of economic development, security, and law and order. Each zonal council consists of the following members: Home Minister of Central Government, Chief Ministers of all states in the zone, 2 other ministers from each state in the zone, administrator of each union territory in the zone. Besides, the following persons can be associated with the zonal council as advisors without the right to vote in the meetings. beside the following person can be associated with the zonal council as advisors without the right to vote in the meeting. A person nominated by the planning commission, अब तो planning commission नहीं रही, नीति आयोग है. Chief secretary of the government of each state in the zone, development commissioner of each state in the zone. The home minister of central government is the common chairman of 5 zonal councils. Each chief minister acts as a vice chairman of the council by rotation, holding office for a period of 1 year at a time. The zonal councils aim at promoting cooperation and coordination between states, UTs and the center. They discuss and make recommendations regarding matters like economic and social planning, linguistic minorities, border disputes, interstate transport and so on. They are only deliberative and advisory bodies. The objectives or the functions of zonal councils in detail are as follows: to achieve an emotional integration of the council of the country, to help in arresting the growth of acute state consciousness, regionalism, linguism and particularistic trends, to help in removing the after effects of separation in some cases so that the process of reorganization, integration and economic advancement may synchronize, to enable the center and states to cooperate with each other in the social and economic matters and exchange ideas and experience in order to evolve uniform policies, to cooperate with each other in the successful and speedy execution of major development projects, to secure some kind of political equilibrium between different regions of the country. Right now, Northeastern Council. Northeastern Council, in addition to the above zonal council, a Northeastern Council was created by separate act of parliament, the Northeastern Council Act of 1971. Its members include Assam, Manipur, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Tripura and Sikkim. Its functions are similar to those of the zonal council but with few additions. It has to formulate a unified and coordinated regional plan covering matters of common importance. It has to review from time to time the measures taken by the member states for the maintenance of security and public order in the region. तो zonal councils आप देख लो. नॉर्थ जोनल काउंसिल, ये उनके मेंबर्स हैं. हेडक्वार्टर कहाँ है? न्यू दिल्ली. सेंट्रल जोनल काउंसिल इलाहाबाद. ईस्टर्न जोनल काउंसिल कोलकाता. वेस्टर्न जोनल काउंसिल बॉम्बे. सदर्न जोनल काउंसिल चेन्नई. ठीक है. आर्टिकल्स रिलेटेड टू इंटर स्टेट रिलेशंस एट अ ग्लैंस देख लो. 261 इससे रिलेटेड है. म्यूचुअल रिकॉग्नाइजेशन पब्लिक एक्ट कोर्ट एंड जुडिशियल. 261, 262, 263, 301, 302, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fine. So this much for today. Thank you.